Reiko Katakura, and I'm currently the studio director of leather goods at Marc Jacobs. I have been with the company for 15 years. I clearly remember before I started here, whenever I walked by our office, I would look inside the lobby and manifest that I would be here someday. At the time, I was working as a designer in a corporate design company, and it was tough to think I could transition to a smaller, more elevated brand. Luckily, I had worked with someone who made their own transition to Marc Jacobs, and as the brand grew, she called on me to help establish her team to become a larger and more efficient design team. I did not hesitate at this opportunity, and since being hired in 2009, I have not looked back. My primary function is to understand the developmental journey from inception to completion and executing any necessary tasks for this to happen, short of designing the bags, which falls under the responsibilities of the design team. Through strong communication and leadership, I form partnerships with other departments such as ready-to-wear, footwear, jewelry, the artwork department, the runway team, merchandising, operations, and press relations to collaborate, influence, and drive change for the line. Due to my prior history as a designer in ready-to-wear, I understand the materials, fabrics, components, and hardware required to execute products. And most importantly, my ability to work independently to prioritize needs for the line helps to push the process forward. For the core line, we receive seasonal concept and direction from the creative director and establish what newness to develop for that season. Materials and silhouettes are determined by the head of design and the design team to be put into work for first protos. This is where the team gets to be the most creative, looking for inspiration and ideas to experiment with and hash out. Things to keep in mind during this process are that all styles need to be brand right, current, wearable, and appealing. One of the best things working at this brand is that with Marc Jacobs at the helm, there is endless inspiration to start with. As we work with him directly on runway bags, we know the intricate thought process that is behind the collections, and we will take that as a cue to start the commercial line. It is truly one of the best parts of being with this company, to work for an internationally acclaimed designer and one of the best creatives working in this field today. Once designs are sent to our overseas factories, and while we wait for the prototypes to be made, we continue to work on designs. We make sure they are compatible with ready-to-wear and that we are using the same language of the season. We obtain information about prints, artwork, materials, and embellishment that will best tie back to the concept of the season. We partner with jewelry on hardware and any charms or components they may be designing that we can utilize. Not only do we work on handbags, but also small leather goods, or SLGs, which includes small bags or wallet on a chain, wallets, webbing straps, chain straps, key charms, and occasionally belts. Once prototypes arrive, we study and correct them to get to a better version of themselves. We have meetings with merchandising to see what items work in the line and what needs to be changed for marketability. We review cost, material, and hardware passability with the product development team. Because it is round one of seeing the protos, many elements change as we work through the line. We may try other materials and construction as another round of protos are put into work. Depending on current sales, we may add or drop styles to reflect the current market. We review color and prints again to make sure they are right going forward. The second proto stage is the same as the first, but the bags should be in a more finalized version with fewer changes needed to get to market sample stage. After second protos arrive, color cards, which document all the components necessary to assemble the bag, are built. They detail out everything from the materials, lining, stitch colors, edge paint, hardware finish, and interior and exterior label details that tie back to the designer's tech packages, which include sketches, measurements, and construction details. This information makes it possible for the factories to gather materials efficiently, to pattern the bags correctly, and construct them in a timely manner. While these samples are being made for the final market, the stage where buyers come in to see the line, we are on to the next season, starting the process all over again. We go through the same process for outlet product, which is a separate team. So we not only have to keep different seasons in mind, but also different teams as collections, which happens 4 times a year. Another element of the creative process is that twice a year, we also work with Marc Jacobs on runway bags. Although a much smaller collection, the expectations of developing this product are very high as we use luxury materials, higher quality, and generated at a much shorter time frame. We have 2 months max to work through concept, protos, reprotos, and finalizing. We work with an atelier in New York. For this, the team often works directly at the factory to facilitate at a higher speed. But of course, this process is the icing on the cake, as runway product is in the fashion show and viewed by millions around the world. Back to the main line. Once we receive our final protos for market, they are merchandised in the showroom for internal buyers to look at. We do get feedback from them and still may need to update and implement changes for marketability. It is always a dance between design intent and how to commercialize it. The line eventually gets finalized and things move along to production stage, photography for editorial, and e-commerce. About 9 months later, it is ready for clients to buy and enjoy. The creative process of designing handbags is a great adventure. From ideas to final product, here are 5 stages to remember. 1. Creation stage. We receive seasonal concept, we brainstorm ideas to explore, and sketches are reviewed and drafted, and specifications are detailed. 2. First prototype stage. Bag silhouettes and animations are reviewed. Alignment of the bags to the rest of the categories is analyzed, and cost of materials, hardware, and production is scrutinized. 3. Second prototype stage. More finalized prototypes are reviewed. Colors and materials are decided for market proto development. 4. Market stage. Final line is presented to buyers in the showroom for marketability feedback. 5. In-store e-com stage. 9 months later, product is ready for clients to purchase and enjoy.